bigger picture, we just want to make sure that our students are engaging in a positive relationship with their neighbors wherever they are, right? And so making sure that you're being considerate of your neighbors. We encourage students, it feels weird in this day and age, but like go up and introduce yourselves to your neighbors. That's part of being a good neighbor.
Howdy, welcome to On Air with Student Affairs. My name is Gina Olivarez, and we are here with Student Life Off-Campus Student Services. Would you please introduce yourself?
I'm Nikki McDaniel. I'm the Community Liaison for Student Life Off-Campus Student Services.
And I am Austin Kibler, and I am the Neighborhood Specialist for Off-Campus Student Services.
I'm Jacqueline Upshaw Brown, the Assistant Director.
Well, thank you for coming today. So Jacqueline, how does Off-Campus Student Services support our Aggie students?
Yeah, so we provide lots of education around all things living off campus. So that can be what does leasing mean, how to understand what you're signing when you sign a lease, how to get through any conflicts with your roommate, your landlord. And then we also have programs that are focused not only around having that education for students, but also building community and how our off-campus students connect with each other, with the community, with the university.
So as you talk about leasing, Austin, what are some things that our student population needs to know and understand as they're beginning this process of looking for apartments?
Yeah, so the first thing really to understand is that when you are signing a lease, it is a legally binding contract, meaning, that you will be held to that. It will be on the record as you signing that. Secondly, when you do sign the lease, know that before you move any of your stuff in, to go in there, check and make sure everything is up to date and there's no health or safety issues. And once you check all that, make sure that gets fixed before you do move anything in. And once you do that, make sure you fill out your inventory and condition form and turn that in, as well as any pictures or videos or anything.
So when you mention just really heavy reading into the lease, what about costs associated with the leasing? Like, are there fees associated when they sign a lease?
So a lot of the times when you sign a lease, some places will have like an application fee, others won't. There'll also be like deposits, and that'll go towards if at the end of your lease any damages are in the apartment, stuff they have to fix outside of basic wear and tear.
And Nikki, we know that move-in is a very hectic time of the year. So what are some things students need to be aware of in terms of maintenance requests?
In terms of maintenance requests, they want to make sure to have a clear-cut communication with their landlord, with the leasing agent. So basically, don't just walk in and say, oh, this is leaking. Make sure that you have a paper trail because you never know what can happen. So that's very important in the maintenance request. Know firsthand how long it'll take. If it's 24 to 48 hours, don't be afraid. If it's summertime and your air conditioner is not working, put in that maintenance request. Stay on top of them. Let them know, look, it's hot. This is what's going on.
And what is a reasonable time frame that we can expect these maintenance requests to be done?
With the maintenance request, usually it says 24 to 48 hours. We know if you're moving into a large apartment complex, that's not always feasible. So again, make sure you keep a running tab on it. If it's something really important like flooding, you want to make sure to get that done right away and put that in.
And Jacqueline, let's fast forward now to the end of the lease term. What is something the students need to do to prepare for either releasing or moving out to another complex?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really important to read your lease and make sure you know when your deadline is to decide if you're going to stay the following year and renew or if you're going to terminate that lease and move out. A lot of times they'll require like 60 days notice. And so you need to put that information in writing so that they know you're not continuing the lease the following year. If you don't meet that deadline, they can keep you on the hook for longer to continue paying rent. The other piece is just make sure that you give them a forwarding address in writing so that you can receive a refund of your security deposit or an itemized list of what they're charging you for if they are charging you for damages. The law does say they have 30 days to return that to you after you provide them a written forwarding address.
If the landlord does not respond timely, what are some steps that students can take in order to retrieve their deposits?
So if the landlord hasn't met their legal obligation, at that point you would be looking at filing a lawsuit in small claims court or through the Justice of the Peace. And our senior students attorney is available to help support students if they do have a need to do that.
Austin, when the students begin to navigate the process of looking for new places to live, or if they're on campus and they're wanting to move off campus, what are some strategies that they can utilize? So
one of the big things they can do is on our Student Life website, we have a link to AggieSearch. And AggieSearch is a platform specifically for the Bryan College Station area and catered towards mainly A&M students, but also students at Blinn. And it has properties here in College Station as well as individual listings for like condos or houses or even down to rooms. And so you can get on that and filter out anything you want. If you want to live on a bus stop, all that kind of stuff. And so that's the main one. As well as, our office is also happy to help if you have any questions about places you might be looking for.
Now, AggieSearch, is that something that will cost the students to utilize, or is it a free service?
No, so it's actually a free service to all students.
And I would add, a lot of students find that they have a need to list their rental for sublet. And so it's free if a student needs to go and say, I need someone else to take over my lease for next semester. Maybe I got an internship or I'm going to study abroad. So you can go on there and find another Aggie who's looking for maybe a 1-semester lease to take over your lease, which is awesome.
And, to piggyback what they're saying, it's also important if you find a place that you really like, look at the reviews. Make sure you're doing serious critical thinking because the reviews can tell you a lot right off the start.
So what are some things that they need to be looking for when they...
Safety. Look for if you see a ton of reviews that this place has infestations. Because the people are going to talk. And it's hard to say, but negative reviews move a lot faster than positive reviews. So if you see that the maintenance requests are slow, or if you see that these people really don't look and search for my needs, all of those will be listed in the reviews. And
I've
you can
also
check
seen
that.
a tricky thing where you'll see like lots of not so great reviews, and then there's like a 1-week period where they're getting tons of 5-star reviews. And so you want to be a little bit suspicious if you see that, because sometimes they'll run promotions that say, leave us a 5-star review and you'll be entered in a drawing or something along those lines. So just put on your critical thinking hat as you're looking at those.
So really do a deep dive and really scroll into those Google reviews.
Right. You're looking for patterns and what makes sense with that bigger picture.
Living in an apartment for the first time, learning how to be independent, and living with roommates can be a lot for students, a big challenge. So what advice can you have for students that are navigating this? Nikki, would you care to answer?
I believe that communication is key. Don't wait and let something blow up at the end. Start talking about, say what you like in the beginning. So if you're a morning person, communicate that with your roommate. If you don't like pets, communicate that with your roommate. Do it up front. So at the end, stuff won't blow up and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know that, or this is what I don't like. So I definitely encourage communication.
I think another one that's really tricky for students who are moving off is like the financial piece. And so making sure from the time you're searching for a place, you're really looking at that monthly budget. We do have a template on AggieSearch in the resources section so that you're thinking about all the expenses that are obvious, like rent, utilities, food, but also some of the things that might be less obvious or you may not think of, like your renter's insurance or emergencies with your car, all of those things. Getting that big picture is really important for knowing how much you can really afford to spend per month on your rent. And then staying on top of that budget throughout the year, I think, is a real adjustment for students as they're first coming into college.
So one of the off-campus student services campaigns is Be a Good Neighbor. What kind of education goes into that with the college population?
So the first one we kind of do is Party Smart. And Party Smart is basically educating the students on if they do decide to party, on how to do that safely, whether that's safely for them, for their roommates, for their friends, stuff like that, as well as kind of with that partying, talking about different code violations and like parking or noise, all that kind of stuff. Just kind of educating them on all that so that they can, have fun in college, but also do that in a safe manner.
And when you mention code violations, what does that entail?
So there's numerous codes with both cities. Stuff like I said, parking on the wrong side of the street or near a crosswalk or fire hydrant, stuff like that. There's also noise, which noise is basically College Station, and I think Bryan as well, also have quiet hours from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., basically where you're not supposed to be disturbing the peace of your community.
I think one thing that a bigger picture, we just want to make sure that our students are engaging in a positive relationship with their neighbors wherever they are, right? And so making sure that you're being considerate of your neighbors. We encourage students, it feels weird in this day and age, but like go up and introduce yourselves to your neighbors. That's part of being a good neighbor, because if somebody has a need, it's really great to be able to reach out to your neighbors. Say you're going out of town and you just like someone to keep an eye on the place, or you need some help getting somewhere and you know that they travel in the same direction, right? It's once you establish those friendly, positive relationships, it feels really good to have that supportive community around you and to be that supportive community for other people, which is part of, I think, our Aggie core values in terms of selfless service and respect. I think we can really see that play out with the way that our students engage with the community, and I think that's really important.
So we know that students that live off campus have some struggles in terms of making connections that on-campus students find a little bit easier to do. What are some tips and techniques that you guys have found to be helpful to our student population?
Well, we definitely have our social media. That's really important. We have different things that we host on campus. We have block parties, micro engagement activities to kind of help them find their niche. If you love plants, we have something on plants. If you love painting, we're going to have something on painting. Just helping them to learn their niche and what makes them more comfortable around other like-minded students.
I heard you guys had a wonderful carnival.
We did. It
Howdy
was
Week.
amazing. It was amazing. The students came. We got wonderful feedback. They loved all the new additions we brought to the carnival, and they're looking forward to next year. So we're excited about that.
I think my biggest one is just having them get involved on campus in different organizations or clubs or groups, just anything like that. Getting involved on campus will also keep them kind of in the loop of what's going on.
Yeah, and I would say if they're having a hard time, like I live on campus, so I don't feel like I have the same built-in engagement community that other people do. We have an email list of off-campus students who have expressed, like, I would love help learning about some opportunities to connect with other off-campus students. And so they're welcome to email us at ocss@tamu.edu, and we're happy to add them to that list. And then when we have things coming up about, learn about campus traditions and events and maybe find a group to attend things with, or our Friendsgiving celebration, whatever it is, we'll include them on our emails about that, so that if they don't want to follow the social media or they don't follow it as closely or looking at the Student Life website and the calendar of events isn't really working for them, they can have those direct emails about what's coming up, which is easier in some ways.
So speaking of events, are there any future events for this semester that you guys are looking forward to hosting for our student population?
Yeah, so one of the big ones we're planning right now is a Party Smart Watch Party. It'll be the weekend of the Arkansas game, which I believe is the 18th. And basically, we're going to have food, mocktails and stuff, as well as games. We'll have the game playing up on the screen. We'll open up about 30 minutes before game time, which is still to be determined. But yeah, and it'll be over in the rec center in room 2229, I believe.
And is this a free service for the students, or will they have to pay like an entrance fee?
No, it is absolutely free to all students.
I would say, let's see, for the fall semester, we also have a Leasing 101 virtual workshop coming up on November 11th. So that'll be in the evening. Again, just keep an eye on the Student Life website or calendar, or reach out if you want the details on that. And then looking forward to the early spring semester, we'll also have our Good Neighbor Network housing fair on campus. So if you're still trying to figure out where you're going to live next year, you can come meet with our Good Neighbor Network properties who have an agreement with us to meet certain criteria for safety and a positive living experience for students, so that if you choose one of those places and an issue does arise, we have a good working relationship to try to help get that resolved in a timely manner in a positive way for you. So date is TBD on the housing fair. We're looking at late January, possibly early February, but watch out for more details on that.
So if we circle back to AggieSearch, because you mentioned the Good Neighbor Network, is there a way for students to filter out that information when they start this daunting process of how to find a place to live?
Yeah, AggieSearch provides a lot of really good filters. So if you're looking for properties in a certain area of town, or maybe you're really interested in just those Good Neighbor Network properties, you can click on the More Filters button and you can click whatever boxes are important to you. So you can enter a price range, a number of bedrooms, whether you want the whole unit or one bedroom in a larger unit. And then if you want them to be Good Neighbor Network properties, it'll also filter those out for you.
And some of them will even give virtual tours.
Oh, yeah.
If you just don't feel like getting out of your bed, you can take the virtual tour.
It's hot out there, y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah. So last year, we had an idea to do a Friendsgiving giveaway. And so on our social media, we asked followers, students specifically, to tell us their best tip for meeting their neighbors. And so we got some really fun ideas, everything from like host a movie watch party or take them brownies, or, so students had some great ideas about building a good relationship with their neighbors. And by commenting, they were entered to win a Thanksgiving or a Friendsgiving dinner for them and their neighbors. So I think what did we give away? 3 of those, 3 dinners. And so it was a lot of fun. And we were happy to help them host a gathering at a time of year when some off-campus students maybe aren't able to go home, or they're working, or whatever it is. So we did that. And this year, I think we're going to do something similar, but we also will have a gathering in the Student Life Center. Haven't decided yet if it makes sense to do like a traditional Thanksgiving dinner, but it may just be come eat some pie with us, which who's going to turn that down? So stay tuned for more on Friendsgiving.
So if a student were to get in trouble while living off campus, whether it be a code violation or another infraction, what steps would the student need to take in order to find some resolution?
Yeah, so the first thing that students would need to do is obviously, read what the violation is, kind of try and understand why they're getting fined for it. And then after that, you can call Student Life and get in contact with our office, and we'll be happy to kind of go through things with you, as well as, we work well with the city, and we can see what's going on, why this was given. But the most important thing I feel is definitely fixing the issue and, not repeating the issue over and over and over again.
Sometimes if they're needing just true legal advice, like how do I navigate this process with court, or what are my options legally, we will refer them down to see the student's attorney, Rick, who's amazing. He's like everybody's hero in the department, but he provides really great advice and helps students prepare for whatever proceeding they may have to go through.
And Nikki, you were the community liaison for off-campus student services. How do you tie in off-campus student services with building a community with the Bryan College Station area?
Well, as Austin was saying, we have a really good relationship with the city of College Station and the city of Bryan. We also have good relationships with other resources around the BCS area. What we usually do is we host community luncheons where we have people from the neighborhoods and students come together. We do round tables. We do different role plays as far as putting the students in the local residents' place and putting the local residents in the students' positions. We give different areas, different scenarios to see how they would handle that. And it can be a little difficult, but sometimes the students forget that they're going to be older. Sometimes the local residents forget that they were once students. So it's nice to put each other in the different scenarios so they'll see, oh, this is what they're going through, or this is how we can handle that. So the community luncheons have been very successful. We've been doing that for about 2 years.
He's also amazing. She knows someone at, I would swear, every nonprofit in this area. And so if we've got a student who's facing a specific challenge and, we obviously first will connect them to whatever resources are on campus for them. But sometimes there is a great resource out in the community that can really help them with that issue. And we just say, Nikki, who's over there? And she can tell us and get us in touch. So
I know one positive program you did was the Haul and Help. Can you give a little bit more information on that? And do you plan to do that again at the end of the
Yes, we definitely plan to do that again. The Haul and Help was partnered with the city of College Station, and it was really a move out event. So when students are moving out, so we won't throw things out on the curb and it ends up in our landfills. We had Haul and Help available so they can bring it to a centralized location, and our nonprofits would come and take it and give it back to the community. So, you have a lot of families that don't have a bed or don't have a table and chairs. So the students would go and drop off the items that they don't need, non-perishable as well. And the local nonprofits would take it back to their organizations, help it out, refurbish it, and pass it back out to the city. So it's just giving back. We did have a huge U-Haul that came up, and it had beds and tables and chairs and everything inside it. So we were able to bless a lot of families.
I would like to thank you all for attending our podcast. And if the students would like some more information, feel free to visit studentlife.tamu.edu. Thanks again for attending.
thank you.
Thank
you.
you.